Alright, Shalom. First and foremost, I want to give all praises, honor, and glory to the Heavenly Father and His only begotten Son, Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, Rachak, Wadash, the born spins to the apostles, and those that great moonstone who rule well and taught us this 100% truth. Much peace and blessings be unto you, all fool. Let out the push not this word of thought, truth, and sincerity. To all you, I can say Shalom. I am the Akira. I am from the servants Yahweh, Yahweh Shai camp, coming in with the quick lesson, going into the 368 treaties that Esau broke, against Gad and Reuben. All right, mainly Gad because during the, going back a few hundred years ago, during the westward expansion, you had a lot of Edomites move westward, and with that being said, came in the situation of Esau moving into the lands of Jake, and these treaties were basically going into our each tribe from each Gadite tribe throughout the land, was a sovereign nation, right, with their own rights. That was their land. But then you had more Edomites coming in, and that basically they basically occupied the land and took over. And a lot of the times with those conflicts came, battles, and then you had a lot of Jake get killed, man. Alright, so, Esau done broke a lot of those treaties, man. But, that's really, from the scriptures, that was really a fulfillment of prophecy. Because in the book of Psalms, the 55th chapter, it makes mention how, if I can get it up, Bakoshah, in verse 21, his words were smoother than butter, but war was in his heart. Alright, so this is the book of Psalms, the 55th chapter, and I'm going to start at verse 20. He says, he hath put forth his hands against such as be at peace with them. Yeah, because originally we were at peace. And I remember one of the alchemy that mentioned how Jake were very peaceful people, and that's the truth, man. Though we never forget, and, we're holding onto that anger, and we can't wait to, let loose and, thresh you guys down with that spiritual power. We're peaceful people, man. All right, we're not gonna hold a grudge. Hey, that's something Esau does, man. Hey, Esau the grudge since for thousands of years, ever since Jake took the birthright, man. But going on, it says to just be at peace with them. Yeah, so when you guys came over, you got a lot of Gadites. They just try to create peace, man. They didn't want to start an all-out war. He had broken his covenant, so Esau done broke the covenant, man, that he made between us. And a covenant is another word for treaty, for a promise, an oath. So the verse 21, the words of his mouth were smoother than butter, but war was in his heart. All right, the words of his mouth were smoother than butter, but war was in his heart. His words were softer than oil, yet were they drawn words. All right, yeah, because at the latter end, it'll come a point where Esau will literally start, killing Jake off, man. And these all-out battles. There is one of the treaties, the Treaty of Greenville, and that, you had a Native American Confederacy right there, a Gadic Confederacy. And, they battled against U.S. troops, man, and they ended up getting demolished by the U.S. troops. You could also apply this precept to back when Columbus came, and with that cunt, what he did was that he offered Jake a lot of infected blankets, as peace offerings and whatnot. And what Jake didn't know is that those are from those are blankets from the what's it called, the hospitals with all the sick people, and that's where they got chicken pox, and the whole history revolving around that. So his words were smoother than butter, yet war was in his heart, to kill us off, man. He didn't show remorse. Hey, freaking Esau hates him, man. That's in the book of Ezekiel, the 37th chapter. And it's been that way. That's how Esau was programmed. He's our adversary, basically. So, the book of Ezekiel, I believe it was, it wasn't the 37th chapter, but Shepherd with me, Akim. It was the 35th chapter. The 35th chapter, verse 5, it says, because thou hast a perpetual hatred, and hast shed the blood of the children of Israel by the force of the sword in the time of their calamity. All right, in the time that their iniquity had an end. And that's a perpetual hatred. Perpetual meaning, everlasting. So since the beginning, since the garden, basically, man. If I didn't mention that earlier, it's Jacob against Esau, man. All right, and back in the garden, it was Cain and Abel, which Cain and Abel are the past incarnations of, Jacob and Esau. All right, and that was broken down to you by, the Akim. That's why we say GMS is 100% truth, because that's how, that's true history. Hey, but these other camps won't teach you that. But it goes into saying that shed the blood of the children of Israel. Yeah, a lot of you guys, did that indirectly, and directly. So by the force of the sword and the time of the calamity. And Esau was blessed with the sword, But if I can get another piece of that, this will be in the book of Genesis, the 49th chapter. Verse 19, it reads, Gad, a troop, and, Genesis, the 49th chapter is going to, feature prophecies from back in the day. What happened was that, our forefather Jacob, on his deathbed, he was, swearing these promises to our forefathers, and they didn't know what these prophecies meant, because they were meant for latter times, circa 1700s, circa 1900s, circa 2000s, so these prophecies were really fulfilled recently, man. So Gad, a troop shall overcome them, and that troop, the U.S. Army, the U.S. troops, that battle against, the Gadite Confederacy over there, in the places of Ohio, Indiana, Illinois, because that was a land that Jake seceded to Esau after the Treaty of Greenville and how that went haywire. So, again, a troop shall overcome him, referring to Esau, Edom, but he shall overcome at the last. Yeah, because it's future prophecy that we're gonna get that spiritual power and beat you guys down, and also, hey, we're gonna have the kingdom. Hey, we got next, man. And with that being said, we're gonna do you double according to what you did to us, man. I repay you according to your works. If I'm not mistaken, that was in the book of Obadiah, the 1st chapter. Hey, so judgment is coming, man. Whether you like it or not. So this is Obadiah, the 1st chapter, verse 15. It says, all right, actually, I'm gonna start off at verse 13. It says, "Thou shouldest," and this is referring to Esau, Edom. Hey, this whole book is concerning Esau, Edom. So thou shouldest not have entered into the gate of my people in the day of their calamity, and that time was our calamity. Hey, going back a few hundred years ago, to this day, man, to this day. Because like 1492, if I'm mistaken, with Columbus coming over here, and then you had 1600s with the slave trade, and throughout since then you just had constant calamity against our people, man. It was really under the curses back then, hardcore bondage, all the astonishment of the heathen, when they came to us, even to this day, And then you got the classic meme. Then you got these memes. You're on social media, you're on YouTube or whatever. You're on YouTube and you scroll through the comments, and then you got the joke about how much you want for the slave, and then they have the little old Edomite grandpa emoji. And if you actually know what I'm talking about, so it's a trend. So it goes on to say, thou shouldest not have entered into the gate of my people in the day of their calamity, yet thou shouldest not have looked on their affliction in the day of their calamity. And that's what Esau did, man. So nor have laid hands on their substance in the day of the calamity. And that's what you did. And that's really fulfillment, going back to the book of Deuteronomy, the 28th chapter, how it goes into how thou shalt eat, the fruit of the field and things of that sort. We build up and you take. And we plant and you take. We raise and you take. Yeah, man, because a lot of times you took our children, you even took our pets. You took our livestock. So neither should his staff have stood in the crossway to cut off those of his that escape. And this is going to back in the ancient world, back in ancient Babylon. Yeah, because, and one thing I know is that this book, it's past tense and future tense. Future tense for back then because it was referring to ancient Babylon, but it was also referring to, you could also refer to it as to back in hardcore bondage in this captivity with the slave patrol. So you had a slave patrol back in hardcore bondage, but you also had a slave patrol back in ancient Babylon. And because Esau wasn't mine with them. So it goes on to say, nature should have stood in the crossway to cut out those of his that did escape. Yeah, those of his, the Babylonians, you had a lot of Jake escape from there. And then you had Esau there, acting like freaking cameras, hiding in plain sight. And whenever you had Jake, run away, Esau would, what's it called? Hog tie them and take them back. So neither should thou have delivered up those of his that did remain in the day of his distress. For the day of the Lord is near upon all the heathen. And guess what, Esau? You're the heathen. Hey, you're not a chosen child of the Lord. The Lord ain't dealing with you. The scripture's going to how unto Jacob have I shown my statutes. And when the Lord gives his statutes to somebody, hey, he's dealing with that somebody. And that somebody is us, man. So for the day of the Lord is near upon all the heathen, as thou hast done. And you can also refer that to all the rest of the heathen. Hey, because we're scattered abroad in all these countries. Those are all our captivities, man. Even throughout history, you have the heathen, have a hand over us, man. Even in this captivity, in this society, all the heathen, they were all, programmed to think that we're this, mistake. Hey, no, you crack us with a real mistake, man. Point blank period, You had that one Moabite lady even made the mention how third world countries, or basically the whole entire world, wouldn't consider contact with you, Esau, or you Edomites, as a blessing, but rather, a curse. Hey, you guys are really a grievance, an annoyance. Hey, even the earth is annoyed with you, man. The trees are annoyed at you. These animals are annoyed at you. The powers are annoyed at you. We're annoyed at you. The heathen are annoyed at you. See, you're this constant, this constant, ringing in people's ears, man. Hey, you're an alarm we want to freaking, destroy. But it goes on to say, back in verse 15, it shall be done unto thee, thy reward shall return upon thine own head. So, all the crap you guys done, man, it's gonna come back to you, plus more, man, and some more. And some. I remember, the Makama was going to how, you look into these shows like Roots and these documentaries, and you see all the crap that Esau done to other people. Hey, we're gonna do the same things to you, man, but worse, Hey, because that's a fulfillment of prophecy. Hey, you can envision it to us, well, I can be like, in the kingdom, French of the kingdom, you can envision it as a brother tells an Edomite, I won't slay you. And a few minutes later, he slays him. And there's something dishonorable about that. You look into these various video games and these movies where somebody lies to a person and they kill them off. That's a dishonorable action. But in the kingdom, that won't be dishonorable. Why? Because Esau will be the most basest among men. Hey, Esau, won't affect our honor. Hey, because we'll all be righteous regardless, man. So their reward shall return upon thine own head. For as ye have drunk upon my holy mountain, so shall all the heathen drink continually. Yea, they shall drink, and they shall be swallowed down, and they shall be as though they had not been. And if I'm mistaken, that word drunk means to consume, or to chastise, to beat down, to thresh. And that's what Esau did to our people, man. He beat us down, and the rest of you heathen did as well. So, all you heathen will likewise suffer the same fate, man, but worse. Because in verse 17 it says, but upon Mount Zion shall be deliverance. See, so we won't have to face any more pain, man, any more travail. And there shall be holiness, and the house of Jacob shall possess their possessions. And the house of Jacob shall be a fire, and the house of Joseph a flame, and the house of Esau for stubble. and they shall kindle in them and devour them, and there shall not be any remaining in the house of Esau, for the Lord has spoken it. And that's a future prophecy in the kingdom. The 1,000 years are past, and you guys are done building the kingdom from the ground up. Hey, man, we're going to, gather you all up, round you all up, to tie you up in a bonfire, and burn you up, man. And that's it, that's it for you. And best believe you had a lot of Edomites also burn our people, man. Burn up alive. Torch them. You had mobs that did that, so we're going to do the same thing to you. But with that being said, I'm going to end it off right there. So the next one, I say,